Alright, which phone has the best telephoto camera? Now, the image processing here on the Honor Magic 8 Pro is kind of unique. The phone's saving a photo without the AI enhancement, while at the very same moment it's actually saving an extra one with the AI enhancement. Now that one is obviously way sharper than the original one, and this time we're zooming all the way in from here to 100 times. Now, reading billboards and highway signs seems to be a really practical use of this telephoto camera. Hey everyone, Ray here. So this is not a voiceover done by AI as usual. So every verdict we'll be making today is based on my personal experience and what I really intend to present. So what about you looking for a phone that's boasting massive battery life, or a phone with a heavy focus on the camera system, or AI on the go is actually what you're really looking for? Maybe Honor's trying to create that perfect phone. Now that truly sounds like a dream phone, an ideal phone for everybody, right? Now we're here to find out if that's true. Alright, so I've been using this phone for quite a while before reviewing it, but the box. Right, so here's the Magic 8 Pro. Obviously we've set it all up to save time, and I've been using it for quite a while, taken plenty of photos. Now here's a charging brick that features 100-watt fast charging. Included in the box, now we have a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, the SIM tray tool here. In the meantime, on the other side, the included case this time around is a transparent one. Now usually we're not spending a whole lot of time over a phone case, the included one I mean. So the included one here is really well built with a raise here around the camera lens. Now that's a solid high quality case. Well, in terms of meaningful upgrades this year, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 is one of them. You'll also be getting a new telephoto lens for the telephoto camera. It now packs a 1/1.4-inch sensor, and it also comes with 200 megapixels. Now it seems identical to last year's model on paper, but now it's looking through an 85mm lens instead of the 60mm lens on last year's model. So now it should put up a good fight with the Vivo X300 Pro. They both feature the 1/1.4-inch sensor with 200 megapixels and an 85mm lens. The major difference here is on the Vivo X300 Pro and the Oppo Find X9 Pro, you will be able to attach that telephoto converter on top of the camera lens. While here on the Magic 8 Pro, you've got everything you've got on the phone. Of course, you can always be just one of those who prefer not to bring an extra piece of gear around. In that case, the Honor Magic 8 Pro will still be a good choice. Or is it? Let's find out. Well, here, that could also be a rather rare design change, as they've actually swapped from a 6.8 inches 19.5 by 9 display to now a taller 20 by 9 6.71 inches display. Now this change in the screen dimensions and aspect ratio seems to be improving one-hand usability and one-hand grip. At the end of the day, in terms of the screen size alone, it now doesn't match the 6.9-inch mark, which is used on the Ultra or the Pro Max models. Instead, it's better suited for people who will be prioritizing one-hand use over the extremely large display size. Now, the fiber material here on the back cover is not completely glass. In my opinion, it does feel slightly, marginally less premium than glass, so it helps bring down the phone's weight, especially when you've got that massive camera array here on the back. So it is a matte finish and is smooth to touch, though when light hits it, it gives that sort of metal sheen effect. Now, combining the slightly smaller than last year's 6.71-inch display, the rounded corners, and the 3D front and back design, the Honor Magic 8 Pro might just be that phone with one of the best rounded and smooth feeling in hand. Well, speaking of comfort, now Honor's been pushing an eye comfort display that's easy on the eyes for quite a few years now, and this model continues that tradition. The display here actually supports 4320Hz PWM technology. Now that will relieve your strain on the eyes in dim conditions. And the peak brightness is now reaching a whopping 6000 nits. Now that's designed for HDR content only, so a portion of the display can reach up to that peak brightness for the HDR pop. So the sustained peak brightness of the entire display is plenty bright that you will have no issue shooting photos and videos under the sun using the viewfinder on the display here. Now, without reading all the specifications and all the numbers, in my personal experience, the overall color profile and color reproduction of this display is genuinely pleasing and smooth to the eye. And last but not least, a 120Hz LTPO display. Now that's a standard. And speaking of standard, it now also comes with IP68, IP69, IP69K rating for dust and water resistance. So basically you can even submerge the phone into water that's under 80 degrees Celsius, or it can withstand high pressure water jets. And now here on the international global version, you've got dual SIM support and eSIM as well. Ultrasonic fingerprint sensors now also a standard. What's worth noticing is that the Honor comes with Face Unlock similar to Face ID. Now here you may be getting a slightly larger front camera cutout due to the dual camera setup and all the sensors there. It allows the phone to scan your face in 3D that you can double tap to wake the screen, and you can select from staying there, swiping up to unlock the screen, or going directly into the home screen. Now here it comes the interesting part. No matter if you're shooting at 1x or 0.8x, you're actually using the sensor on the left only to take that photo. But for portrait mode, this one actually takes some seriously great looking selfie photos. Now just look at the details on the background, especially on the cloud layers and the sunset orange. And just look at how accurate the edge detection there it actually is. It's like each strand of my hair is feasible. Now, speaking of equally breathtaking, the dual speaker setup here, the volume, the richness of the audio and the bass. Now maybe it's only second to the newly launched Poco F8 Ultra. Possibly still better than the one you've got on the iPhone or the Galaxy. Now if it's possible to grab an earbuds, that will give you a better idea of how it actually sounded like. Alright, now the camera, that's definitely one of the most important area of this phone. And if you're looking for a phone with top tier telephoto camera, now which one is the absolute best? The Oppo Find X9 Pro, Vivo X300 Pro and the Honor Magic 8 Pro? Well, that would be another story. But here on the Honor Magic 8 Pro, we've actually got an equally matched 200 megapixels 1/1.4-inch sensor as what we've got on the Vivo X300 Pro, which has been regarded as the camera king at the moment by some of you out there. By saying so, the focal length here is also now 85mm, which the previous one was like 60 to 70mm, combined with the further improved algorithm enhancements. Now let's put it to the test. So the maximum zoom range here is still 100x. So here is a test comparing 12 megapixels output versus 200 megapixels output based on its native 85mm focal length. Just to double check that 200 megapixels is not just a number here, that it truly delivers. And there you can see the image that was exported in 200 megapixels is truly much sharper than the one exported in 12 megapixels. Speaking of the telephoto camera, the maximum zoom capability on this model now features 100 times zoom. From 20 to 100x zoom, that will be the industry standard. You will be having that little bit of extra assistance from the AI algorithm. Now here, what's new on this model this year, they've essentially extended that AI enhancement feature onto the night mode as well. And that's the interesting bit that's worth noticing here. That AI algorithm also applies to 1x, 2x, 3.7, which is the 85mm native focal length of a telephoto lens, up to 10 times and 15 times in night mode. Now in real practice you can always disable that AI algorithm, but here's the catch. The AI here actually upscales the photo after you've taken that, while the regular sharpening and HDR effect will take place almost instantly after you've pressed that shutter button. Now as you can see, prior to the AI computational photography, all the details in the shadows and colors, they've already been enhanced and boosted, elevated. Now in terms of dynamic range, they looked almost the same, and that's the point here. The AI algorithm here actually focuses on enhancing the texture and sharpness of the image. Not so much for the dynamic range, but you will also be getting much better noise control here. Now for this particular shot, you can truly see the power of the AI enhancement here on the Honor Magic 8 Pro. It truly elevated the usability of the image, from a blurry, barely usable photo to now a much sharper, highly usable, likable photo on your social. Now comments below and let us know what you think. Do you prefer having all that AI power or leaving that turned off by default? Now, I know it might again spark some discussion over how much AI you would want on photography. Now, I highly suspect Honor's already thought that out. As you can see here, the moment you're taking that photo, the phone's actually saving the original photo as well as the AI enhanced one. So you will not only be getting the AI enhanced photo, but also the original one. You will then have the control over keeping both of them, or just select one of them then deleting the other one. In that case, I think it would be fair to say it's better to have AI than not having the AI, as you can always switch that off, or maybe even if you've turned that on, Honor's leaving the choice for you and the control for you, selecting one of them afterwards. Now we have this scene to push it to the limit, zooming all the way in up to 100 times, pulling back from distance. Now it's a photo taken with 20x zoom. Right, so the main focus of this test will be the AI enhancement here on the Honor Magic 8 Pro. Is that computational photography dependable or not? Now for this particular shot, we can clearly see the one with the AI enhancement is clearly way sharper than the one without. And now at 50x, I would say, in my opinion, the algorithm's doing a really great job here. You may say the one that's enhanced with AI is clearly digitally altered or processed. Well, I wouldn't be arguing with that, but it's like a choice between a blurry photo that's barely usable or a sharp but obviously processed photo. Well, in this case, I would be choosing that AI enhanced one over the original one without all the algorithms. And finally, at 100 times zoom, it's actually interesting to see the difference between the AI enhanced one and the original one's actually smaller than one at 50x. Now, I would say 30x to 50x maximum will be what you will be actually using for street photography or landscape photography. However, 100 times ultra long range zoom could be great for capturing distant small text, maybe a sign on the street, or a highway sign, something on the billboards, let's say. Now, good news for low light and night city landscape photographer. Right, so the photos that I'm showcasing right now, they're all taken in night mode with the AI enhancement turned on. Of course, you can switch that off, or maybe you can select either having the original one or the AI enhanced one afterwards. Now, photos taken with the Honor Magic 8 Pro. In general, colors are vibrant. It also comes with impressive noise control, that you can barely see if there's any digital noise in the shadows area. And to wrap up the whole package, it also comes with effective HDR effects. Now, especially for this particular shot, the impressive bit isn't about the sharpness of the image overall, or the sharpness in the highlights or area with sufficient light source. Instead, just look at the clarity of the textures in the shadows areas. Now, the new 85mm telephoto lens combines with a 200 megapixels 1/1.4-inch sensor, as well as all the AI stuff, or maybe actually is the sharpening and HDR effect built into the camera ISP. Now, for professional photographer, you might argue photos taken with the Honor Magic 8 Pro might really be too sharp, or maybe it's processed. Yes, that's true, but for the majority of us, who won't be enjoying a quick snapshot and a quick share on your social? And that could be what Honor's trying to do here. Sharp and bright photos with excellent dynamic range, next to non-digital noise all the time in all sorts of lighting scenarios. Right, so that's the basic color reproduction, HDR effect, and AI enhancement feature on the Honor Magic 8 Pro. Now video stabilization and all sorts of features that's unique to this phone. To start off with, we have 3 levels of video stabilization here. Alright, so you can switch that all off. You have the standard video stabilization that supports 4K. And last but not least, you have the ultra stabilization mode here, which supports 2.8K, similar to what you've got on the iPhone. That's a 2.8K spot mode, right? Now that's the worth mentioning bit. 4K video stabilization here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro is actually surprisingly good on the main camera and the telephoto lens as well, even without the ultra stabilization mode turned on. And now 4K 120 is also supported on the latest generation of Honor's flagship phone. You can even zoom all the way to 10 times for 4K 120 videos. Now you will be able to shoot 4K 120 video on the main camera and the telephoto lens. Right, it's now the portrait video mode. Here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro, you won't be actually getting a separate mode for portrait video. Instead, you will be having that virtual aperture toggle here on the main interface on the video mode. Now, what is still missing is the beauty mode for 4K video. Once you've switched that on, it will drop to 1080p automatically, but to be fair, no one's been able to do 4K video with the beauty effect on. So just move back to the portrait video in 4K, which is the first time for an Honor phone, here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro. As we can confirm here, the dynamic range and edge detection on both the main camera and the telephoto camera are working just fine. Or in fact, more than just fine, it's one of the rare phones that support not only the main camera, but also the telephoto camera when it comes to this kind of portrait video mode. Well, speaking of portrait mode, it can actually be one of the largest improvements over the last year's model. As one of the largest, maybe the only complaint I've got for last year's Honor Magic 7 Pro was in fact in portrait mode it will just sometimes underexpose the skin tone or overexpose when it's in backlight or challenging scenes. Now this year they've clearly sorted that problem out. Even for these multiple shots I've got here, that I was facing the shadow while the sunlight was actually directly behind me. Now the HDR effect here on the portrait mode on the Honor Measure 8 Pro is now one of the best, if not the absolute best. It now has no problem retrieving all the details from the highlights while bringing up the brightness of my skin tone and the details in the shadows all at once, with that punchy colors if you're using the auto mode, default color vibrant mode. Now you have quite a few film simulations filter baked into the portrait mode as well. More on that in a second. Now the only complaints regarding the portrait mode here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro will be the lack of flashlight support. Once you've turned on the bokeh effect, you will be losing that flashlight. So due to the sensor size of the main camera as well as the telephoto camera is not small at all, which is 1/1.3 inch on the main camera and 1/1.4 inch on the telephoto camera. So you will have no problem for low light portrait mode photography at all. And now here are the 3 color modes that's a collaboration between Honor and Harcourt Studio, as well as there's a few film simulation color filter there actually. And that works with both the portrait mode and auto mode. And here's a set of photo using each film simulation mode for the same framing in the same scene, so you'll be able to compare how the colors look on a different film simulation mode. And last but definitely not least, we have 3 extra AI magic color mode here. So they're not an ordinary color filter that will adjust the color temperature, white balance and the contrast of the entire image. It's like it's changing the entire lighting and atmosphere for the scenario. Right, so here's the final feature that's related to the camera we'll be covering today, is the stage mode. Here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro, it actually allows us to zoom all the way up to 100 times in even the stage mode, but to be fair, 20 to 30 times for moving objects, in this case a performer, is more reasonable, I would say. Now if you'll be interested in the AI features that's available on this phone, now make sure you won't be missing out the coming part of this video. As based on my personal experience, they've actually got a rather unique take on AI here on the AI button. Of course, that will double as your camera shutter button, but let's face it, I've disabled that once I've got the phone. Now, long pressing that AI button on any screen, there you've got your Google Circle to Search, which is normal and a quick way to activate that. Now here's the interesting part. there's actually an AI memory selection, which in reality is a screenshot, but a more organized one, as you've got a dedicated AI memory app, and that will store all of your AI memories screenshot. And these AI buttons actually got the ability to recognize what's actually playing on your screen. In this case, we've got here another video of mine which is in another language. Well, of course, I have got the subtitles for that as well. So let's say we don't. The AI subtitles feature here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro, which is accessible through the AI button, that will instantly generate you a subtitle for your video in another language. And that's the amazing part. It actually combines AI translation feature here for the AI subtitles. So basically, you'll be able to understand any video in any language in your native language with the subtitles. And that works exceptionally well on Instagram Reels, Facebook videos, or TikTok videos, as well as YouTube Live, any sort of video on any platform. So in my opinion, it's moving towards something like a general AI agent that will work with every function of the phone. Well, up to this stage, you will get your Google Circle to search AI subtitles for any sort of format of videos, a quick and organized way to save all your screenshots, and of course a quick easy access to your AI summary feature. And it's not using Google Gemini to do that summary, it's the built-in AI feature here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro, so that actually surprised me. And I'd definitely love to see a future that honors being able to integrate that AI button to deeper into the system. Well, they're doing that already, but let's say if you've got dedicated AI feature for every single app inside your phone, and you can simply trigger that using the AI button with one click. That could be the future of smartphone. Well, here, just back to the reality, you've got the magic text here. So that's a feature that allows you to extract and select text from any sort of photos and screenshot. Well, in this case, we've got a name for a place, which is a tourist attraction. By long pressing that, you'll be getting a blue glow on both the left and the right edge of the phone. And there you've got the selection of like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, or even Google Map, and that will actually search the place for you, and you can start the navigation right away. Now, when it comes to multiple photos, you can first select the multiple photos you're going to share or search online, or maybe you're going to post them on Instagram. Speaking of photos, here we've got the built-in photo editor here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro, which we shouldn't be ignoring that at all. So first and foremost, we've got the AI outpainting. The good thing about this is you can actually move the original field of view of your photo across this generated area. The AI eraser feature here actually works with the expanded photos. So in the end, you will be getting an expanded photo with all the passerby removed. Right, so how well is the AI eraser here on the Honor Measure 8 Pro is actually working? Here's a comparison between the original photo and the AI edited one. Right, that works. And here's actually another new feature that's really interesting on the Honor Measure 8 Pro. You'll be able to remove the moire patterns here, and that works as well. Now, this is another AI editing feature that's new to the Honor Measure 8 Pro, that the AI will actually suppress the wrinkles effect on your shirt. And finally, here you've got your AI upscaler that will upscale your compressed and low-res photos. And you know, it works just fine. Right, so this is another AI feature that's growing in popularity. So right here, I'm simply playing back another video of mine, but in real practice, you will be able to record your phone call. Then you'll be able to listen back to that audio record later on for sure. But the integration of AI here is you'll be able to transcribe that later on. And on top of that, the AI Minutes feature here will actually allow you to summarize and organize your information throughout the phone call. So that's not only summarizing your phone call, but interpreting your phone call's information in, well, 5 different formats you can select from. And here you've got your phone instant translation feature working here as well. Well, here's a Note app on the Honor Measure 8 Pro. There's a pretty similar AI Minutes feature here. Everything you'll be able to work on with the text you've got here is basically the same AI summary feature here, and the same AI Minutes that will organize the summarized information there you've got. And finally, the mightier than ever Google Gemini is here built into the system of the Honor Measure 8 Pro global version as well. And finally, it could be a little bit complicated that the silicon carbon battery packed inside this Honor Measure 8 Pro's got a slightly different capacity depending on which region or country you're living in, as they've actually got a massive, humongous 72 6200 mAh battery inside China. In the meantime, Europe would be getting the smallest battery. Still, that's a much larger than average 6270 mAh battery. That could be related to logistic and regulation inside the EU. And finally, the rest of the world will be getting a 7100 mAh battery, including the global version I'm reviewing in this video in Hong Kong. Now, the China version will actually get you 120 watt fast charging, while the global version, including the EU version, will be getting 100 watt fast charging wired. In my opinion, 100 watt is still quick enough and plenty fast. On the contrary, charging it up too fast might generate extra heat as well. So I'm pretty happy about 100 watt charging here. So now don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our upcoming comparison video. We'll be including the Honor Magic 8 Pro, the Vivo X300 Pro, the Oppo Find X9 Pro, and you name it. So that's pretty much everything we've got for you today about the Honor Magic 8 Pro. A bright and comfortable to look at display that might be a little bit smaller than last year's model, but that will also work exceptionally well for those who prefer a smaller phone. Well, not small at all, but smaller than an Ultra or Pro Max phone. For Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, which is the most powerful processor on a smartphone right now. A camera system that takes vibrant and clean photos even at night, even on the telephoto camera in ultra long-range zoom. With full support of 4K 120 ultra stabilization mode, portrait video mode, you name it. Now, the AI button that's integrated tightly to the system's AI feature. Oh, and speaking of AI, it could be the closest competitor to Samsung at the moment. And at last, don't forget the massive battery. Well, depending on where you live, so it should be still packing one of the largest battery on a smartphone in your respective region or country.